There are a few possible reasons for why you just clicked on this video. 1. The cute girls on the thumbnail. 2. You enjoy my content. Or 3. You, just like me, love romance anime and want to see whether our tastes align or if I'm just talking huge BS. In my perfect little world, it is because of all of them, and with yet another season of crazy good, crazy mid and crazy underwhelming anime behind us, the only thing left to do is separating the one genre that truly matters from them, look at its shows in great detail, and find out which of them managed to stand out and which didn't. With that being said, let's start. Take a few seconds and imagine the following scenario. You're rich, live in a dumpster called home, and your alarm clock is the doorbell. But one day, a random girl wearing a maid costume stands in front of your house and starts asking you for work. Now there are two possibilities. You're either imagining being a teenage boy in a rom-com anime, or Asmongold. Just stick with whatever you prefer here, because the important part is not who you are, but who she is. Or let's put it this way. She's a 10, but has a rather high body count. And I don't mean it in a sexual way. What will you do? Give in to the Kudere charm and let her in, or continue your life the way it was before? For Yokoya, this was not an easy decision initially, but after almost dying by the wheels of Truck-kun, he started seeing the truth. And to be honest, who can blame him? Living together with a hot retired assassin that's addicted to Marmite. What could possibly go wrong?
エロ漫画の方がまだ情緒があるけど
大丈夫
っていうかなんで俺の名前
最高の初体験をさせてあげるから
See? Nothing at all. The character's daily life is pretty entertaining, mostly because Miss Maid doesn't know how to do the simplest everyday things. And on top of that, it is also very wholesome, but at the same time has a slight dark undertone. I did like it, but I don't love it. But maybe you do. B tier. If I'd receive a penny for every otome isekai I watched in which the main character wants to act as a villain, I'd have a total of 2 pennies. Which isn't a lot, but it's funny that it happened twice. Even more surprising is the fact that both of them are actually good. And while I do recommend watching Trapped in a Dating Sim, today we are talking about this neat little show. I'll become a villainess who goes down in history. It sounds a little edgy, and to be fair, it sometimes is, but it is also one other thing in particular. Satisfying. Don't you hate the trope of the perfect goody two-shoes character in anime or dating sims? Well, Alicia certainly does, and that's why she strives to become the perfect evil counterpart to the heroine of the game she got, I guess, reincarnated in? Not that it matters. And while her efforts as a villainess are not really taken seriously overall, she still shines in important moments, mostly when it's about verbally destroying the heroine's arguments and delusions, which brings her a lot of hate from the heroine's followers. Basically, she's the embodiment of a Twitter community post, and who doesn't love them? But despite being smart, powerful and knowledgeable about the game, things are not really progressing the way she remembers, starting with the nation's prince falling in love with her instead of the actual protagonist. This anime is not as shoujo-esque as I thought it would be, but together with some small political aspects, which I always enjoy, and a silly but still kinda badass female lead, it had me positively surprised. That's why compared to some other romance shows this season, it deserves a solid A tier. Have you ever asked yourself how you would win over the heart of a masochist Yakuza member purely by accident? Just sell a kidney and treat him like trash. Sounds easy enough, and you make a little money on the side. But Yoshino, who is just a normal 17-year-old high school girl, probably had other things planned for her life than getting sent to Tokyo and being forced into an engagement with a batshit insane guy whose personality is as deep as the plot of Keijo. Yakuza Fiance is definitely one of the more unconventional romance shows this season, and I respect that. The theme is intriguing, I kinda dig the art style, there are raw and badass scenes that fit the setting well, and there is some mystery to certain characters. But there's also one thing that I did not like, the relationship of the main duo. It feels kinda flat and the dynamic between those two doesn't do much for me, which might be a case of it gets better later on. But as far as the anime goes, I'm not digging it that much. Which doesn't negate all the other good things though, so let's go with B. Minus. Let's go back to simpler things when it comes to romantic dynamic. The classic choose your favorite girl in your seasonal harem anime. And while there are not that many to choose from here, tying the knot with an Amagami Sister has all the other stuff. Sad backstory? Check. An ambitious main character? Check. Generic tsundere? Also check. Lots of sexualization and naked skin? I don't know how to say this, but no, not really. This anime, despite being a harem, is surprisingly tame, and I actually don't mind it at all. It's kinda crazy that this show feels refreshing by simply holding back on the horny stuff. I guess sometimes you can order a Coke Zero to your triple cheeseburger menu and it works just as well. But there might be some of you wondering, well, what's left then if there is no gooning? And my answer is, a cute wholesome rom-com for those moments when you don't have the mental capacity left for anything else. And to be honest, we need those turn your brain off shows every once in a while. At least I do. B tier. Next up is a show with probably the highest amount of online anticipation I've seen for a romance anime in years. And after watching it, I can see why. Every morning, Taiki, a passionate member of the school's badminton team, wakes up early to be the first one to arrive at the gym. But there's one person who always beats him to it, Chinatsu. She's not only the star of the school's basketball team, but also Taiki's secret crush, and while they're not really that close yet, both unknowingly started to motivate each other by pursuing the dream of improving in their respective fields. And then, everything gets a little complicated once Chinatsu, because of reasons, starts living together with Taiki and his mom. Don't worry, I know it sounds weird, but it actually isn't. What sold me on Blue Box is the dynamic between the characters, how they're portrayed, and the way they pursue their dreams. This show is not just about getting closer to the person you have feelings for. It is about improving yourself, which here counts for the sport aspect as well as a metaphor for the characters themselves. It's about doing things because you want to do them, not because you need to. And most importantly, it is about not giving up in order to achieve your goals. I also really enjoyed the romance part because it progresses naturally and makes you not miss out on the sad aspects the show brings with it either. And the characters are all endearing in their own way. Taiki is a sympathetic goofball, Hina the teasing and supportive friend, Kyo a based wingman, and Chinatsu absolutely precious.
どうかした？
いえワンピースだ
I highly enjoyed the first part of Blue Box and will probably start reading the manga. Nothing more to say then. S tier. Chill lost everything. Her family and friends are dead, and the kingdom she once swore to protect is now actively hunting her down. And all of that because she caught her fiance advancing a little too far into sisterly territory. Doomed to die in vain, her life flashes before Chill's eyes, when suddenly she finds herself back at the moment when all of it began. The day of the party where she met her fiance 6 years ago. Incest and time travel, what a way to start the story. But it gets even better, because knowing what happened last time and trying to avoid it, Chill decides to take a different path and ends up proposing to Discord's most handsome moderator, Haris Theos Rave. Yep, that's his name. I just realized that explaining all of this makes this anime sound pretty wild, for all the wrong reasons. But believe me when I say, it's actually not that bad. As far as the Retry My Life plot, humor and action goes, it's decent. But definitely lost me on the romance part. That's why I will put it in B tier. Alright, ranking this next one is not that hard for me. I have a lot of nostalgia for Ranma simply because I grew up watching it, but back then I also encountered my first ever waifu before that word even was a thing. And no, it was not gender-bent Ranma, it was Shampoo. The remake does a damn good job in my opinion. It keeps the same old humor, which to be fair doesn't always hit, but that's just preference, changes some smaller things at points where it was needed, mostly the pacing, and manages to overall keep the charm of its predecessor. I personally also really like the brighter color scheme and didn't really care too much about the censoring stuff. I'm just happy I got a remake of a show I loved as a child that didn't turn out to be ass. So, nostalgic A tier.
ある日3人の若者たちは夢と希望を胸に合コン会場へ行きました。ですが、そこにいたのは3人のイケメン男装女子でした。
Thanks for doing my job, anime clip. When I first read the title, How I Attended an All-Guys Mixer, I thought it sounded like one of those stupid flashbacks from an episode of Family Guy. Luckily, this one right here turned out to be actually funny. But calling it just that somehow feels like I'm downplaying it, because this show, not gonna lie, was one of my absolute favorites this season, simply because of how entertaining every single episode has been. The characters have great dynamics, there is no drama, only these cross-dressing girls effortlessly rizzing up 3 college buddies who start questioning their sexuality afterwards. Well, at least one of them does. It is just pure wholesomeness, teasing, one of the lewdest hand-holding scenes you will ever witness in anime, and it has this freaking guy who does not have a single care in the world. Look at him and tell me you hate him. I won't believe you. All Guys Mixer is one of the reasons why I love anime. You sometimes just stumble upon a random premise, get curious enough to check it out, have a damn good time, and carry on. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. A+. A lot of people think that the worst parts about being single are loneliness, lack of physical contact, and annoying relatives. But it could be far worse. For example, your workplace could just send you to Alaska for getting no bitches. Takuya and Rika are in danger of having exactly that happening to them. And with both being the perfect definition of peak introvert lifestyle, their situation is rather dire. That is, until the two, who have never really interacted before, accidentally meet on an off day and talk about their little predicament. After some valid reasons for not wanting to leave the country are put on the table, Rika hits Takuya with a 500 IQ move. Why not just get married? See guys, it can be so easy.
本当の結婚じゃありません。不利です。
フリー。
そうです。
Oh, well, that's still closer than before. I guess you can already see their pretend marriage introducing all kinds of problems going forward. Because not only do they have to now prove to their co-workers and families that they are dating, there is another issue coming up. Real feelings. Disgusting. But I am 100% convinced now that this is how hardcore introverted people are dating nowadays. If anyone can vouch for that, let me know in the comments. I like this show, although it is very basic, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but will only get it into B tier.
まあいい。遅くなったが転職おめでとう。
私とお父さんで選んだ就職祝いよ。
ありがとう。お父さん、お母さん。
Just hear me out for a moment. Keisuke and Take went from co-workers to lovers and eventually lived their life as a happily married couple together with their daughter Mai. But one day, Keisuke's and Mai's life came to a standstill when Take tragically passed away after a car accident. 10 years later, the situation has not improved at all, with sadness and gloominess written all over their faces. That is until a certain person comes into their life. Marika, or better described as Take, who got reincarnated back into this world and only recently started remembering her past life. I know some of you just let out a big sigh after hearing the word reincarnated, but here the trope works well with what the anime wants to convey. The process of grieving, how to find acceptance, and how to gain the energy to move on with your life. Having Take back results in a huge burst of happiness and motivation, which helps father and daughter getting back on their feet, improving their life as well as strengthening their family bond. But these first few steps don't come without their own little struggles. Not forgetting that Take also has her new life to handle in the body of Marika. Overall, Tuma Show is an optimistic show with important themes, and I liked certain parts of the characters' developments. That said, I also have to say that the anime did not meet my expectations after seeing so many people who've read the source material being happy about its announcement. Certain aspects of the story don't get explored enough in my opinion, and other parts just feel kinda rushed. I wouldn't call it a bad show, but I did not enjoy it as much as the rest on this list so far. So, C+ it is. Nina, a young orphan girl with bright, beautiful eyes, but sadly not a bright future, tries her best to survive on the dusty streets in the kingdom of Fortnite. Her life, while still being hard, is filled with joy and fun moments. But after losing one of her two dear friends to an illness and getting sold out by the other quickly after, Nina's life changes forever when Fortna's second prince Azure forcingly takes her in to cover up the death of Princess Alicia, who was primarily known for the rare blue color of her eyes. From now on, Nina's task is assuming the identity of Fortna's late princess without letting anyone find out, and later get married off to the neighboring kingdom's prince in order to strengthen the political bond between the kingdoms and avoid a potential invasion in the future. This anime took me on a little emotional roller coaster because I really liked the first few episodes, hated what happened afterwards, but then started enjoying it again despite not being happy with the direction the story went. The main thing I did not like about the show was its pacing. What happens around episode 4 and 5 felt a little emotionally lacking. With a little more build-up, this moment could have made a great season finale, but ultimately lost a bunch of its impact because of how quickly it changed the story going forward. But even with me being a little critical here, I still enjoyed most of it afterwards and would still tell anyone who likes shoujo anime to at least give it a try. After all that, I'm still not 100% sure where to put it, but given the placement so far, I just go with B+. Hamidashi Creative is indeed an anime. based on a visual novel, which is probably good. But the show, which of course only exists to push game sales, kinda fails at being that. Not that I know what the game is about, but this anime didn't really make me want to check it out either. I guess if you're heavily into moe content, you will get some enjoyment out of it, but for me, it was just unbelievably boring. I wasn't even sure whether or not I should include this here, because yes, it has the romance tag, probably because the visual novel is one, but there is nothing romance-like happening in the anime. Like, at all. There are 2 redeeming factors though. The episodes are only 3 to 4 minutes long, and one of them completely revolves around wearing underwear. And given that some scenes are cute, and that I only wasted 40 minutes of my time in total watching it, I'm fine with putting it into C tier. Going from an anime with the romance tag, but no romance, to one with lots of romance, but no romance tag. Kinda weird, but let's be real here, I have to include it. When 2 weirdos with different supernatural beliefs meet, there is, as Twitter shows us time and time again, only one way to defend your standpoint: shit talking. But this is not the story of a One Piece and a Naruto fan becoming friends over arguing which one has the better plot. One Piece. It is the start of one of the weirdest, funniest, and simultaneously most heart-wrenching shows of fall 2024. And aside from being one of the most fun to watch anime this season, Dandadan also features arguably the best romance dynamic in modern action shonen. Wait, characters can fix their misunderstandings by just talking? Crazy concept. Momo's and Okarun's interactions are nothing other than lovely and will get you invested into their relationship before you even know it. I like the use of over-the-top Japanese humor paired with fast-paced action and the occasional tearjerker moment. And although I already knew what will happen in this season since I've been reading the manga for a while, I gotta say that every moment so far really got elevated by the anime. The voice acting is incredible, animations are fire, I couldn't have wished for a better direction, and the opening, well, you know. Sai and Saru did a damn good job here, and with knowing what's yet to come, I am more than hyped for its 2nd season. S+. And we're done. What was your favorite romance anime this season, and what placement do you disagree with the most? Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to support my content, and hit the bell to receive my eternal gratitude. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, peace.